Hi, a very good evening, all of you. So, this is Harsh Gupta, founder of Lawsymptoms, and today we have a very special guest, Miss Pratha Khanna. She is from OP Jindal. She's in her final year. So, she is here to share her experience, her learning, and she's a mentor to many of us, many of her students. And she has done mentorship sessions for various students. So, she's here to share experience. Now, firstly, I would like to ask about her experience, her journey till now, like how it has been and how is her experience. So, Miss Pratha,
All right.
please.
Hi, everybody. Like I have been introduced, my name is Pratha Khanna, and I'm a final year law student at Jindal Global Law School. So far, I have interned at a lot of places, such as SAM, Trilegal, Khaitan, etc. And I have recently been offered to join as an associate at BMR Legal because my specialization has primarily been tax law, and I have been working for the past 1.5 years within tax itself. So my journey has been a little bit all over the place so far, being a COVID student, as a lot of you might be able to relate. And that is about it. Over to you, Harsh.
Okay, so since the topic for the session of today is how to plan a law school, right? So let's approach this gradually. Like if one is in the first year of law school, what should be an approach?
See, ideally, in first year of law school, you're not going to be learning a lot of law core subjects like
True.
criminal law, etc. They do usually come in later. So in the beginning, you might be struggling with legal methods or tort law, etc. So in the beginning, I would suggest in terms of your academics, of course, focus there. Never let your CGPA drop from day one. Make sure that you have a good CGPA because it does come to bite you back later,
True.
and then you might end up regretting it. So make sure that you are focusing on academics from day one. And then in terms of your internship, I would suggest start like assisting a lawyer. Don't start with an NGO. That is something that has been recommended by pretty much everyone. But in my opinion, that is a little wastage of your time and effort because that might not really help you in the future. So start with assisting a lawyer, go to court, understand a little bit of procedural work, get to attend hearings, preferably understand how court system works, and so on and so forth. Like the first semester should be court internships. Second, also primarily a little bit, let's say, maybe a little corporate also would work then.
Great, 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 Pratha. So, like you are emphasizing like not to do NGO internship, right? So my question is like why not? Because I have seen like when any faculty comes from outside and for this to give clarity to students that you must do this in the first year and second year. So they do include the NGO internship. So like why no from your side?
See, ideally, first of all, it completely depends on what kind of an NGO internship you're doing. If
True.
your NGO internship is with, let's say, with an organization that is primarily dealing with pro bono work, they
Mhm.
are helping people on ground, then that is something that might help you because you will be able to understand law. But for example, in my first year, I had gone to an NGO wherein I was asked to write children's magazines.
Mhm.
Now, that is something that is not even remotely related to law,
True.
which is why when even if you are going to an NGO, again, it's not something that is, I'm not strictly against it, so to say.
Mhm.
I would like to emphasize on the fact that from day one in your internship, you need to start learning the law. Don't waste
True.
your time learning something that is not law. Don't do social media internships, marketing internships, or content writing work. Like, try and not do that and try
Mhm.
and start learning law from day one.
True. Basically, the legal things would be there wherever you are interning, right? So
Correct.
now the next question is like now the let's break the term law school itself, right? Like we keep talking about law school, but law school itself is very diverse term itself. Like there are NLUs, there are central law universities, there are top private law universities, including OP Jindal, right? And there are then rest of the schools. So my question is whether college university tag really matters, and did it help you get any sort of favor or leverage? And what should students of those law schools who belong to rest of law schools in quotes category must do differently so that once they graduate, they are at equal footing with any other top law school students? Over to you.
Okay. So, well, first off, like in my opinion, I have seen that The only difference when it comes to law school tags is when you go into NLU versus any other university.
Mhm.
So NLU tag is something that does play a role. That is something
Mhm.
that I have seen. Like I have seen a lot of lawyers also, for that matter, put in requests for internships wherein they only ask for NLU students.
Mhm.
So maybe that is where you might be a little disadvantaged. But as a whole, like if you look at it as in a more holistic sense, I
Mhm.
would say that as long as you are doing great academically, your
Mhm.
institution does not matter. Like it might matter when it comes to placement opportunities. Like
Mhm.
it matters if somebody has specifically given criteria, then that is something that of course you can't help in.
Mhm.
And then when it comes to your recruitment cell, that is where you might see a difference. But during your internships or during your law school, when you go in and enter the field itself, I
Mhm.
don't think that matters much, because at the end of the day, if you're doing really well academically, if you're at the top of your batch, even if you're from a very small university, it
Mhm.
does not matter as long as you're putting in your best, even in terms of connection making, etc. Like a lot of people say that if you're in top universities, you have a lot of connections
True.
and that helps you get internships, etc. But I'm a first gen lawyer. Even though I'm in
Mhm.
Jindal, I am a first gen lawyer. Every connection that I have made, every internship that I have gotten, everything has been on my own merit. I have not had the help of a lot of contact making, so to say.
True. Makes sense. So basically, like we also keep talking about area of interest, right? When the moment we enter into law school, we talk about area of interest. Like when the faculties ask what your area of interest, the first day they will come in your the class, they will ask about area of interest, but nobody knows the area of interest. Once like they all the class will either go with litigation, they will go with corporate, or they will go with judiciary. Like they have this consensus among their classmates, that all are going to raise their hand together. So like how one should identify, their area of interest and what the terminology means actually.
Okay. So, see, first of all, like you have to realize that we're in law school right now. There is literally no subject that we're studying that we know everything of.
Mhm.
See, that is something that only comes to a lawyer after like 15, 20 years of experience.
Mhm.
So, right now, to, decide and stick with one field for the rest of your life is not exactly possible. Like everybody is just, playing their chances, which is
True.
why the first step that you need to make is decide between corporate versus litigation.
Mhm.
Ideally, again, there is a lot of overlap. For example, commercial litigation
Mhm.
or dispute resolution in corporate firms. There is a lot of overlap between these two fields,
True.
but in a very holistic sense, there is a pillar approach which is corporate and litigation. When I say
Mhm.
litigation, I mean like hardcore litigation when you're
Mhm.
doing proper criminal law every day. When I say corporate, it means a lot of like contract drafting, etc., and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
Right. So again, coming down to the first step, corporate versus litigation. Once you have that sorted, then it is best to start exploring other fields. For example, IPR, tax law, TMT,
Mhm.
insolvency, so on and so forth. It's great to start exploring those fields, but don't stick with one thing until like fourth year of your law school, because it wouldn't make sense for you to stick with something so early on when you haven't been able to intern, etc. there. Like
Mhm.
for me, I chose tax law in my fourth year,
Mhm.
and consequently it happened that my electives were all tax law, my concurrent internships were in tax law, even my publications were in tax law. So that is something that I naturally gravitated towards. I didn't
Mhm.
choose that up until fourth year of law school.
Also, do you think like when people post their success stories on LinkedIn that they have got internship there and here, and but at the same time when like those who haven't got that internship, they simply ask like on LinkedIn or even in the classroom that how have you got it? But they don't realize that there is a history to that internship. For example, before the internship, that person has done various other internships to get that internship. For example, that person has interned at tier 4 law firm, tier 3 law firm, tier 2 law firm, and then that person has got tier 1 law firm. So how you see the approach.
See, I think it's a very step by step procedure. Even
Mhm.
for me, like I started returning at a very, very small pace. Like they barely had, like, it was only four name partners in that
Mhm.
firm, and I was directly working under that name partner. It was
Mhm.
just literally just four people.
Mhm.
But the experience and the work that I have learned from that firm is not compared to like a lot of places that I interned after that.
Hmm.
They taught me the drafting of shareholders agreement from scratch till the end, even
Hmm.
rent agreements. Like, for example, any contract drafting, they started with me from scratch till end. And
Hmm.
that person I have been in contact with for like throughout my law school.
Hmm.
So honestly, I believe that it's a very step by step routine. There are a lot of students who, go to tier one firms, for example, Khaitan in their second year or third year.
Hmm.
But I don't think that they learn a lot from it.
Hmm.
Because at that point of time, first of all, you don't know a lot of law.
Hmm.
Secondly, you've not interned at other like smaller law firms where you've actually understood the culture, the work ethic, etc.
Hmm.
And then thirdly, at this time you can't really convert that internship into a PPO or something because you're just
Hmm.
in your second or third year.
Yes.
So in my opinion, it's always best to go step by step, start from small, get to the big one, so that
Hmm.
you have something to show. Like your journey is something that can be seen even by the recruiters by the end of your fourth year.
Hmm. Makes sense. Also, like I want to add a little bit. For example, let's say you are not like your grades are good, but you are not from NLU or let's say OP Jindal, and you are like from not you are not from top grade law school, right? Right. Now, like if you want to apply for top tier internship, I don't think you will get it at first place. So like you need to make your basis right. You need to like do other kind of internship so that you already have something in your CV so that that catches eye of the HR in top tier law firm, and then that person can give you a chance. Like I can relate it to myself. Like when I interned at Luthra, like I know how I have got this internship, right? Like the previous exposure that I've got and how much hard work I have done, right? So I think that everyone should learn from it and should understand, right? Also, like I have
Correct.
another question. Like I think the how one should approach regarding the intent. For example, a few join with pre-mindset that I will appear for judiciary, I will write UPSC, I will try for different government exams. Like exams, also like I will become law professor after doing my masters. So when they enter law school, they either forget their premeditated goal or just get involved so much that they start exploring other options. Because like when you are in law school, you hear success stories of many people in various domains, right? So when the question is how to remain intact with the mindset, or we should just go away with the flow, whatever opportunity comes in our way, just to take it, or what to do. Like I believe when one wants to do everything, it is a situation of mess. So what is your take on
Yeah.
it?
See, ideally, my approach has always been to take the opportunity that you get.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it is not to say that you take and do everything. It is to say that you weigh in the pros and cons of everything that you're getting yourself into.
Mm-hmm.
That could be anything ranging from a research paper or a quiz competition, article writing competition, anything, for example. So just make sure that you're always weighing in the pros and cons of everything you're doing, because you need to realize that you only have a limited number of time, and
Mm-hmm.
in that time you need to do a lot of things to make yourself a great candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why whenever you're, for example, you're entering into law school thinking that you want to go into judiciary,
Mm-hmm.
then again I would not say that restrict yourself to it, but at the same time I would not tell you to move your eye away from the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Continue judicial preparation, do that on the side, because again you're doing that for 5 years, so
True.
keep doing that on the side. But at the same time focus on other things also, because you have to realize that you need to have a backup with everything. Like even if today, let's say, I hadn't gotten a job offer, etc., then
Mm-hmm.
even then I needed to have a backup with me. I needed to
True.
make sure that tomorrow when I graduate I have something behind me, even if this doesn't work out.
True.
So that kind of mindset you have to build from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose out on opportunities thinking कि nahi, I only want to do judiciary, then you might not have that backup for yourself. Which is
True.
why, like I'm saying, just make sure that whenever you're getting an opportunity, you weigh in the pros and cons, understand the relevance of that particular opportunity to what you want to do and what
Mm-hmm.
you see yourself doing in the future, and then enter into it.
Basically, it's about work-life balance, right? For example, you are here for entire 5 year in a law school, and so you need to utilize all the opportunities that you have. Whether you need to attend seminars or whether you need to attend moot courts, like you should all like participate in maximum opportunities that you get, right? Whether it's intra in your college, everything counts and everything makes sense. Okay. So, like, I have another question in addition to it. So, like, whether one should participate in moot court competitions and other extracurricular activities, and how is it beneficial from a job perspective if it really is?
Okay, so first off, moods again, very important part of law school. Okay, a lot of people like me, for example, I've not done a lot of moods, and that is primarily like my motive. First of all, again, I was a 2.5 year COVID student, so again, I didn't have a lot of on-field opportunities, so to say. Also, at the same time, the reason why I didn't enter into a lot of moods was because I wanted to do tax, and
Mhm,
tax was something that is not very widely available in these competitions.
mhm,
But that is not to say that I've not done any. I have done a few in my law school. Again, it is beneficial. Only reason being, like, I would never suggest a law student to not do moods, primarily because you need to understand that doing a moot is not just a competition or, a public speaking contest. At
mhm.
the same time, it gives you a lot of research experience.
True.
It teaches you how to be very in depth with a matter, and that is something that you will need regardless of what you do in future. So doing a moot, in my opinion, is very important. Even in terms of job prospects, it's very important. Recruiters really do look for mooters. There are some
Mhm,
companies that only prefer candidates that have done moots. So mooting, very important. At the same time, make sure that, like, you're not just mooting, you're doing other things as well, because a
mhm.
lot of students only do moot courts and then they don't end up doing any publications, and
True.
then that creates a career. So you should have a healthy balance of everything in your CV.
Makes sense. Also, I have a like final question, right? So, like, if you want to give 5 tips to young law students when it comes to planning a law school in general, what will those be?
A, make sure that you keep your grades up.
Okay.
B, make sure that you're always interning like you want to get a job there. Don't take an internship to be a field visit, like, so to say, it's
Mm-hmm.
not a picnic. Take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Take responsibility. ठीक है मतलब be accountable to your work, be sincere to your work.
Mm-hmm.
Thirdly, we keep doing competitions, keep putting yourself out there,
Mm-hmm.
primarily because it gives you a lot of experience, not just research, but also public speaking, and also, just teamwork in general,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the fourth would be continue publications. Publications is very important. It teaches you a lot about learning a particular topic, also, for
Mm-hmm.
example, from A to Z, which is very, very important. Okay, and my final tip would be develop a hobby. Like, I know a lot of people
Networking
don't
can
say
be one.
this. Sorry.
Networking can be one.
Yeah, networking can be one. Like, I would say a little more on ground, like something that you can put in your CV,
Mm-hmm.
but like something on the side. Like, a lot of students when they go into law school,
Mm-hmm.
they only do law. Like, उनके लिए होता है moot court कर लिया, publication कर लिया, internship कर लिया, that's it. In my opinion, you should have something on the side. Like, for me, that was always social work.
Mm-hmm.
I was very involved in Rotaract, so that is one thing that I have constantly done. Public service is something that I have constantly done. So for you, it could be sports, it could be music, it could be art, it could be dance, it could
Mm-hmm.
be anything, gives you a little character in your CV. You can't just be a monotonous law student. You need to be something more than that.
Mm-hmm. Very well said.
That.
So, thank you, Pratha, for sharing your insightful thoughts here. I'm sure everybody watching this video will gain valuable insights and information and will be able to plan their law school in a more comprehensive and diligent manner. Hopefully, we can join together again with another insightful session if time permits. So, thank you again.
Thank you. Bye bye. All the
Bye. Bye.
best.
Bye.